We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant in this case. Count 1, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Conspiracy. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy.
You can see the emotions and relief on Dr. Teresa Sievers' family's faces. More than 4 years since she was killed, Teresa's husband, Mark Sievers, has been convicted in her murder. The state says Mark Sievers hired Curtis Wright and Jimmy Rogers, who you see here. Rogers was convicted of second-degree murder in October. Wright took a plea deal in this case. He is expected to get 25 years in prison. At this point, it looks like Mark Sievers will at least be put away for the rest of his life, but he could still get the death penalty. The same jurors who convicted him will meet again on Tuesday to determine his sentence. In order for Sievers to be put to death, all 12 jurors have to unanimously agree. If even one disagrees, Sievers will get life in prison without the possibility of parole. Our legal expert, Pam C., says if the state wants to put Sievers to death, they'll need to focus on the aggravating factors of this case during the sentencing hearing.
What was it that made this such an egregious egregious crime? Well, part of that is we've got a husband and wife. That should be the biggest part of trust that you could ever have with another person. And he breached that trust. So right there, that is one of the most aggravating circumstances you can find. And the fact that he planned it out, he planned it with his best friend, and the steps that he took afterwards to cover his steps, all of these things show a depraved mind.
It's during this penalty phase. Pamela C. says we will likely hear from Curtis Wright again. We'll also hear impact statements from Teresa Sievers' family or friends about how her murder has changed their lives. Then C. says the defense needs to focus on the mitigating factors, any possible mental or physical health issues or anything in Mark Sievers' past that would lead jurors to believe he should not be put to death.
The jury must deliberate over that to make a recommendation of life or death. It is in their hands at that point.
Now, if the jury does decide to give Mark Sievers the death penalty, there would be automatic appeals associated with that. And if Mark Sievers gets life in prison, his team will still likely file appeals. The death penalty process is one that could take decades, and we'll be exploring why, as well as how expensive the death penalty is, in our next half hour. But right now, we do want to get back to Dr. Teresa Sievers' family and the emotions they showed as that verdict was read. We spoke with Dr. Sievers' sister and brother as they left the courtroom.
So relieved.
Are you relieved?
So relieved.
Oh,
We just want to get on with our lives now.
You can see the emotion on their faces there. The state tells us they are focusing on the penalty phase of the trial now, and they are already back to work on that. We asked the defense for a comment as well, but they did not want to speak with us. Now, we did mention Jimmy Rogers earlier as one of the co-conspirators in this case. He was found guilty of second-degree murder in October, and he will be sentenced next week as well. His sentencing is set for the 12th. That's exactly 1 week from today. And we do want to remind you, Fox 4 is your source for everything related to the Mark Sievers murder trial. This has been a years-long developing case with a lot of different parts, and you can find everything related to this trial and case on our website, fox4now.com, as well as on the Fox 4 Now app. And we're also putting the latest updates on our Fox 4 Facebook and Twitter pages. Our Sandra Rodriguez will be back in court for the penalty phases of both Jimmy Rogers and Mark Sievers. She will be live tweeting what's happening there.